Uh, Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. I'm Rupak Rai, a third-year PhD student at Florida State University. Today, I'm going to present my work on compression of time evolutionary image data through predictive neural networks. This paper has been accepted for publication at CCP 2021. This project was done at the Computer Architecture and Systems Research Laboratory at FSU in collaboration with the RIKEN CCS. This is the outline of my today's talk. Firstly, I will talk about the motivation and the challenges of the project in the introduction section. Then I will give a brief overview of the design of compression technique, which we informally call as TEZ. Finally, I will discuss about our experimental setup and results, and conclude the talk by discussing the future work. Time evolutionary data has some characteristics which make it suitable for our purpose. Firstly, the changes observed between consecutive time evolutionary images are mostly rule-based changes from certain physical systems. Secondly, this sort of data is rich in temporal similarity since it captures how scientific phenomena and physical systems change across temporally consecutive image frames. The advantage of such data in compression purpose is that the next frames are predictable given the current frame. And we can also store only delta frames in place of the original frames. Scientific simulations, remote sensing, and IoT networks can generate gigantic amounts of data in the form of time evolutionary images. For example, a Large Hadron Collider in CERN generated about 88 petabytes of data in 2018. The amount of data is expected to increase during the future runs. Current estimation shows that the amount of data will be doubled during run 3 and 5 times during run 4 compared to run 2. Huge amount of data generated from sensors must be transferred or stored to the external or internal computers for visualization, debugging, checkpointing purposes. The next generation detector CITES, a large synchrotron radiation facility located at Spring 8 in Japan, is expected to generate 1.3 exabytes of data per year. Fast transfer and optimized storage of such large-scale data is becoming increasingly critical. For combating such explosive volume image datasets, data compression has been a popular approach. In a data compression approach, data size is reduced before storing or transferring. This is a simple overview of proposed data compression technique. This is based on the concept of delta encoding. First, we will predict the frame and compute the difference between original and predicted frame and store it in a delta frame. In a delta sequence, same values are likely to appear many times, which makes it more compressible. When the delta frame is passed through a lossless compressor like gzip, at the decompression phase, the compressed delta frame is decompressed in the beginning. Then the decompressed delta frame is added to the predicted frame to achieve the original data. Now the challenge is to predict the frames accurately such that delta values are small enough. PredNet is a suitable candidate for our purpose. It is a deep convolutional neural network. It is a self-supervised neural network model designed to learn predictive coding of video frames. This model attempts to make a local predictions of the input to the module. The advantage of this model are it can efficiently decode latent object parameters, and also it can identify objects with fewer training frames. These are the motivations behind choosing PredNet. Most important one is low time overhead for training data, as model trained for one dataset works well for the other datasets also. Size overhead of the model is almost negligible. From our experiments, we have observed that the size is around 27 megabytes. Moreover, with the model time, evolutionary data frames can be predicted with higher frequency. PredNet also has a multi-frame prediction scheme which can help us achieve better decompression performance. But integrating PredNet to our compression technique is challenging. In this slide, we have shown that the challenges we faced and where to find the solutions. The first hurdle that we faced was that the decompression phase requires a whole new design, as PredNet has no such scheme. Secondly, without a good trade-off, the computational time will overshadow the advantage of compression technique. Also, in case of multi-frame prediction, the prediction error keeps increasing steadily, which has an adverse impact on the compressibility of delta frames. Another challenge is that delta frames themselves are not suitable for existing compressors. We have to pass them through some encoding techniques to be suitable for existing compressors. Now I will discuss the design ideas of TEZ. Here I will discuss the workflow of TEZ compression decompression technique. At step 1 and 2, time evolutionary data is passed through the PredNet to achieve the predicted frames. At step 3 and 4, delta frames are computed by taking the difference from original frame. Step 5 is for storing or transferring compressed data which is not shown in the animation. At step 6, compressed data is decompressed to achieve the delta frames. Next 3 steps, which are step 7, 8, and 9, are for predicting the frames and adding them to the delta frames to achieve the original frames. Now the question is, what sort of prediction should we use? The first prediction scheme that we considered is the direct prediction. DP scheme directly uses an original frame for each prediction, so this can be also called a one-to-one prediction. First, I will go through the compression phase. This is a stream of time evolutionary image frames. Next step is to predict the later frames from the original frames, and then compute the delta. Next, we will store the compressed delta frames and the first base frame. The decompression phase, frames are decompressed to obtain the delta frames. D1 is then predicted from the first frame, which is B0. Then the decompressed D1 is added with it to achieve B1 or the second original frame. Next, B2 is predicted from B1, and we keep continuing the prediction and the delta addition process until all the original frames are generated. Next, we analyze the pipeline of DP scheme. Here, the prediction and delta calculation can be overlapped completely, which makes the compression process fully parallel. The decompression phase is fully sequential, as can be seen from the figure. Here, prediction and delta addition cannot be overlapped. The overhead is 2 into n plus 1, which is also quite high, where n is the number of frames. Next, we consider the static window prediction, which is a multi-frame prediction scheme. At first, we predict a fixed number of frames from the base frame, which is called the prediction window. In a prediction window, the first frame is predicted from the base frame, but other frames are predicted from the previous predicted frame. Then we compute the difference between the original and the predicted frames and store the compressed delta frames. At the decompression phase, the delta frames are decompressed first. Then frames within the prediction window are predicted. Next, we add the predicted frames with the delta frames to achieve the original frames. Here, the compression phase is slightly less parallel than DP because of window-based prediction, which is quite negligible. But the length of decompression phase is shortened to n plus n by W plus 1, where W is the size of the window. But even with this SWP scheme, we have some demerits. Here, TEZ has no control over error bound, and also static window size has a negative impact on the compression ratio. So we produced a new technique to overcome the deficiencies of SWP. This scheme can predict frames with dynamic window sizes while controlling the errors within a specified threshold. The advantage of dynamic window prediction, or DWP, is it can maximize the predicted windows within the allowable error bound. Also, it shortens the critical path in the decompression phase, and moreover, error control gives us user command over compression ratio. Here is a visual illustration of dynamic window prediction, or DWP. In the compression phase, we predict the frames within a certain window from the base frame. And at the same time, compute delta and mean squared error between original frame and predicted frame. When the MEC or the mean squared error exceeds the predefined threshold, we call it a prediction window and start predicting from the last frame of that window. Then we keep repeating the same procedure for the following prediction windows. In the decompression phase, we predict the windows in a certain prediction window and add them with the delta values to obtain the original frames. We continue the decompression process until all the frames are generated. Like SWP, we can overlap the compression of frames in the different windows. In the decompression phase, we can overlap the prediction with the addition of delta frames with predicted frames in a certain dynamically selected window. After the prediction and delta calculation, the delta values are compressed using a series of encoding techniques. The encodings consist of point-wise relative error-bounded quantization, density-based spatial delta encoding, entropy encoding, and finally, existing compressors are used to compress the data further. Similarly, in decompression phase, the compressed delta frames has to pass through these 4 steps to obtain the decompressed delta frames. Point-wise relative error-bound quantization is one of our most vital encoding schemes. The goal of this encoding step is to increase the spatial similarities. Also, it can ensure the user-specified point-wise relative error-bounded ratio. Here is an example to show the encoding procedure. First, we calculate the error range for all the delta values, then try to vary the values within that range to make the consecutive values similar. The blue crosses in the figure denote the delta values without quantification. The red crosses are the delta values after quantification. In the outcome, we can see the consecutive similar values highlighted with different colors. Next, we perform entropy encoding. We apply entropy encoding to replace highly recurrent values with smaller bits and replace less recurrent values with longer bits. With our entropy encoding, less compressible floating point values are replaced with more compressible integer values. To map the values with their integers, we also store a mapping table with the actual encoding data. Next, we pass the encoded data to an existing lossless compressor. To find the most suitable lossless compressor, we have evaluated the compression ratio of TZIP with ZSTD, ZZIP, and BLOSK. ZSTK outperforms GZIP and BLOSK respectively by around 43% and 50% on average in terms of compression ratio. Hence, we use ZSTD in TZIP in the rest of the evaluation. Now I will discuss the environmental configuration and evaluation. For our experiments, we have used Intel Xeon V3 processor with a frequency of 2.3 GHz. For accelerating our prediction and encodings, we have used NVIDIA Tesla K40M GPU and CUDA version 10.1. For training and testing the model, we have used TensorFlow and Keras framework. For our comparisons with existing compressors, so we also consider a baseline approach. In baseline approach, delta frames are computed between two consecutive base frames. The advantage of such a simple scheme is that there is no data dependency across a set of delta frames, and it requires much less computation. But in decompression phase, base frames need to be restored from previous base frame and delta frame, which makes it sequential. This figure shows the comparison between different lossless compressors. We select the lossless option of X265. All other lossless compressors have been configured with default settings. We can see that TZIP achieves an improvement of up to 3.2 times. On average, TZIP is 2.1 times better than the second best X265. This is a comparison of compression ratio between different lossy compressors. TZIP achieves an improvement of up to 3.3 times than the second best SZ. On average, TZIP delivers an improvement of 1.7 times compared to SZ. Here I will discuss the compression decompression time with lossless compressors. X265 lossless and FFV1 performs better than other lossless compressors in terms of compression ratio. Thus, we only show the decompression or the compression times of X265 and FFV1 with GEZ. TZIP outperforms other lossless compressors for datasets with a large number of frames. TZIP performs 28% better than the X265 while being comparable to FFV1. Here we compare compression decompression times with different lossy compressors. In compression phase, lossy TZIP's performance is comparable to SZ. But in case of decompression, SZ is much faster than TZIP. In conclusion, we can say that TZIP is a salient technique to exploit the similarities inside the time evolutionary data. It also provides a balanced trade-off between compression decompression time and the compression ratios. As a part of future work, we plan to improve the predictive technique and further improving the compression ratios for time evolutionary data. I would like to thank everyone for the time and attention today. For questions, please contact me at the following email address given in the slide. Have a great day.